Have you ever found yourself saying, it's not what happens in this book, it's how it's written, it's how it feels? Me too. I think that feeling comes from a story having a beating heart that makes it feel alive. And if we want to write something like that ourselves, I think we have to know what the heart of our story is and then use that to guide what we write. Think of it almost like adding colour correction to a movie, so every shot feels like it belongs in the same story. But how do you do that? How do you write that? That's what I'm going to explain in the next 10 minutes or so, with some examples of how I'm trying to use this in the book that I'm writing. I'm Kieran. I'm a writer and a freelance editor, and I'm here to help you develop as a writer and tell your story how you want to tell it. That's what I love doing, so thanks for being here. My website's below if you want to find out more about hiring me to work on your book. I've been closed to new work since the end of last year because I got completely booked up, but I am now open again, so get your requests in, check it out at the link below. So, what is the heart of your story? I think, very broadly speaking, the heart is what the story means, beyond just the events that take place in it. I gave these two examples of the concept in a recent video. The Lord of the Rings is all about travelling to Mordor to destroy the One Ring. But the heart of the story, at least in my opinion, is the power of friendship. The Martian is a book all about Mark Watney navigating the pitfalls of being the sole survivor on another planet entirely. But the heart of the story, to me, is human connection, hope, and survival. I think if we know what the heart of our story is as we write it, and we keep it in mind, it can help us create a cohesive feeling novel. Something of that heart, I think, will filter through and affect the words we choose when we're building the story. Then, while we're taking all sorts of twists and turns along the path of our book, the heart of it will always be there to cast that light or that colour, that particular shade onto the story. If the heart of our story is freedom, for example, then we can refer to freedom or associated things throughout the story to create a kind of consistency. We could talk about how the sun breaks free from clouds, or how a thought escapes our character's head. I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, so don't worry if this doesn't make sense yet. I'll show you some more specific examples in a minute, but let's answer a big question first. How do we find the heart of our story? Whether you're working with just a story idea for now, or a finished first draft of your novel, you might already know what the heart of it is. It might just be a matter of engaging directly with it. It might be there lurking in the dark recesses of your mind where all of your creativity comes from. Or it might not yet. To discover it, I think it helps to ask yourself what's driving you to write this story. And I don't mean wanting to get published or make money or build a fan base, all that stuff. I mean, why this story? Why this character specifically? That could be a greater meaning that you want to get across, a purpose or a question you're looking to make the reader think about. It might be how you want to make your reader feel. Do you want them to feel creeped out, impressed, smitten, relaxed, inspired? I mentioned examples. So as an example, the heart of the story that I'm writing now is isolation and abandonment, both literally and figuratively. So I've tried to make that concept present in the exterior world of the book as well as in the characters' thoughts and actions. There's light from a single window spilling onto the old stone path. A car door slams off on another street, and the chatter of something in the woods beyond the square rises and settles down again. Bear in mind, please, that this is a rough first draft, but there's the single window, the window is alone, and a couple of sounds that we're disconnected from. We can't see or reach them. I'm not using the words isolation and abandonment here, but what we're seeing, at least in some small way, echoes the heart of my story. It doesn't have to be that complicated, doesn't have to be all that obvious, but I think making an effort to do this creates a kind of thematic consistency. I haven't given you my best suggestion for finding the heart of your story yet, so don't worry if you're still thinking, huh? Start with your main character and have them guide you a bit. I often find my character's particular goal or situation or personality or journey is often rooted in the heart of my story. In this case, my character is abandoned, an outcast, a literal hermit, in fact, so we often bump up against his loneliness within the narration. As he walks along the street in the growing dark, he wants to call out to those houses to shut their curtains, or there'll be a draft. He wants to hear someone remembering the dog needs to go out. He wants to look in and see a quiet lad looking through VHS tapes in an old wooden cabinet. He's outside looking in, physically, in this scene, but also in the heart of the story too. Disconnected and separate from everyone else. It doesn't have to be more complicated than that, in my opinion. The small moment echoes the larger themes of the story. So think about your character and allow them to steer you a little bit. What do they want? What's their biggest issue? What are they trying to change? But bear this in mind, those questions are quite likely to lead you to elements of your plot. You might say, they want to solve this, or they're trying to get that. That's good to know, but to find the heart of the story, we need to think about why they're doing that. It's the same concept as when I asked you why you're writing your book. What's beneath the surface there? If a character's trying to get out of their controlling family's clutches, then escaping their oppressive family isn't the heart of the story. The pursuit of freedom probably is. If they believe someone's been framed for murder and they set out to find the real killer, the heart of the story isn't solving this case, it's getting justice. It does occur to me that there might be a problem with all of this for some writers. So what if the book's already finished? If you're already a full draft into your book and this heart of the story stuff isn't something you've thought about yet, you could be thinking, great, my book doesn't have this thematic consistency that this dude on YouTube's talking about. That means something's missing. It's lacking something. It's less than. It isn't. I'm not in the business of making writers worry about what they've written already. I'm in the business of helping them feel good about what they've achieved so far. So before you make that judgment about your work, don't worry. Here's 3 reasons why. Number 1, the most important one, this is all just my concept, my interpretation, something that guides me as I write, something that I think might be useful to help other writers, but not something totally essential. It's not something that will apply to everyone universally or that everyone will understand and agree with. In fact, I think I probably write differently to most writers. You probably do too, because there is no most writers, not really. I read a lot of stories from a lot of writers in different stages of their writing development, and they are absolutely not all the same. Number 2, another reason not to worry if you've written your book without thinking about this is that you can most definitely add it in editing and rewrite your next draft with the heart of your story in mind if you decide you do want to include it. I can actually see that being a good way to give you some direction with your editing generally. It doesn't mean starting from scratch and building everything again. It might just mean changing a reference to the weather from being overcast to being close and airless. And that might be all you need to do. Not every single line and paragraph has to represent the heart of your story. Not every detail has to be small and represent the large. It probably wouldn't be very readable if we did that. It's fine to just do this a handful of times throughout the course of your book. If that's all you want, it'll still create consistency. In fact, it's fine to do whatever the hell you want because it's your book and you get to decide. Number 3, the final reason why you shouldn't worry if you haven't thought about the heart of your story yet. You might very well have actually already done it without making a conscious effort to do so. There might just be a natural cohesion to your story that you're building from all these different directions. That might just be how you write. If you've watched this video and been thinking, isn't this just writing? Then yeah, maybe it is for you. See earlier point. In fact, I think I probably write differently to most writers. You probably do too, because there is no most writers, not really. And another thing, perhaps this all sounds a bit abstract, a bit conceptual, a bit imprecise. That's because it is, really. I'm a person and I'm talking about a creative process, not a universal truth. I'm a writer by feel, not by formula. So this concept, like most of what I've learned about writing, I've arrived at by trying to stay in touch with what I want to do with my story and by being creative. It's very likely you'll find the heart of your story at the very source of your creativity, beneath the surface. Think about your story and why you wanted to write it in the first place, and give your mind a few minutes away from all these constant distractions to just process that, and you might be surprised what you come up with. Unplug for a bit, go into a quiet room, close your eyes and think, and try not to fall asleep. And if you watch this entire video and none of it really made sense to you, don't worry. We're all write in different ways at different speeds. It doesn't mean you're behind or you're lacking or you're not good enough. It just means you do something differently. And understanding that is a really key part of writing. All of that being said, thank you so much for watching as always, and happy writing.